FM.
So, first of all, thank you for coming, Rachel.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yes, and we should just explain quickly how we know each other. I mean, you were with for England for quite a while, and of course, you're married to Stephen, whose interview came out a few weeks ago. Now,
It
so,
did, yeah.
yeah, it did a very good one, I would say. But so as I do with all the interviews, can you introduce yourself?
Yep. So I'm Rachel Miller, and I run a disability sport charity called Smile Through Sport, and I'm involved in bocce.
So, did you do any sports growing up?
So I did. I played hockey when I was growing up, and I was an Irish dancer. So that was pretty much what kept me busy when I was younger.
And so you did your so were you involved in sport from a young age, and then that sort of progressed on to when you went on to university?
Yeah. So I loved taking part, and then I went to an all girls school, and then I was one of the first years to do GCSE PE. So I did that, and then A level sports science when it was one of the first times it had run, and then went to university to do sports science as well. So just kind of followed it through.
Well, you did, because I thought down here that you did a BA in sports science in 2002, and then you went on to do a master's in a different university doing sport management in particular. So, so why did you go from sports science to sport management? Because it's very similar between the two, isn't there?
It is. So I went as part of the sports science degree. One of the modules was about sports development and getting people active, and creating opportunity. So then I kind of went that way rather than the biomechanics and the psychology. I wanted to go into that development side, so that was why I changed for my masters.
And it was a 2-year master. Was it a part-time or?
No, it was full time, so it took a year and a half. So I just stayed in education really.
And then we should explain, how did you meet Steve? When did you meet him?
So it was, to be fair, part of my masters. I had to go on a placement to do event management. And the event I was running, Stephen was the VIP guest. So that was how I met him way back in 2007, I think. So a while ago.
Yeah, quite recent then, but I was thinking that you maybe met him before then. But
No, I knew of him because when you're from the Northeast, he's our most successful Olympian, really, Paralympian. So yeah, I knew of him, but yeah, hadn't met him before.
no, because it seems quite recent, because as we go on a bit later on about you and him working together for Smile, so that kind of makes sense in terms of a timeline and everything. So with your work, why did you focus on disability sport?
So I have a disability myself. So growing up, it was part of my world. But then when I went to university in Liverpool, so my degree, again I had to go and do a placement, and bocce was the placement that I got. I didn't choose it; it was just that was what I ended up doing, and I just fell in love with it. And that from that moment, disability sport was my focus, definitely.
And do you mind explaining this disability?
Mine, so I just don't have the right bone structure in my foot, so it's a physical disability.
Oh, okay. It's probably one of those hidden disabilities, because I didn't even know. Yeah.
No, you would never, you wouldn't notice. The only thing is I have to buy 2 pairs of shoes because I've got odd size feet. So unless you're buying me shoes, you wouldn't notice.
No. Yeah, because you focused a lot on the disability sport in your work. So after you left your masters at university, actually no, it was in the middle of your masters that you got involved with the English Federation of Disability Sport. You were regional project manager in 2006. So I'm assuming that was a placement in your masters.
It was, yeah. That was where I was organising the event where I met Stephen. And then I just, after my masters, I stayed there and did a project for, it was 7 sports, I think, and doing some development work with them. Yeah, that's where I started.
Yeah, and then you went on to do your North Tyneside Council, and you were the Disability Sport Development Officer. So that must
Yeah.
have been quite a nice job to have.
It was lovely because it's quite a little local authority up here, but they're really keen on getting their residents active. So it was a lovely job to have, and it was doing things like getting holiday activities started for kids with disabilities and making sure there was opportunity in the centres. So yeah, really good.
And was it across the northeast, or was it any particular place?
So it's a particular place, so it's a local authority up here. So EFDS, when I worked for them, I was across the region, and then at North Tyneside, it was just that local authority.
Fair enough. And then you went on from that to Butcher England. I mean, presumably, starting off with Butcher, one of your first placements. You probably heard of them then, or how did you get involved with that?
Yeah, so I did it as a placement and just fell in love with the sport. And then as part of my role in North Tyneside, it was to put on bocce competitions. So that was how I got involved with Bocce England, because at the same time Bocce England was just starting. So before that, it was CP Sport that I used to volunteer for. And it was Richard Evans rang me one weekend and said someone had dropped out for a competition in Wigan. It was the Cheshire International Open. I think it was Wigan. And then I went along to volunteer, and then that was it. I've never escaped since. Been stuck.
Yeah, you certainly have been stuck there
Yeah,
for time.
definitely.
Yeah,
So since then, so that was what, as a volunteer official, and then I think I've had pretty much every role going since then.
you really have.
Yeah.
So, was that volunteering or was it a referee official, or what was the role?
Uh, yeah, so I volunteered for a long time as a referee.
Yeah.
So yeah, as a referee, and then that was when I became a tutor. And then I've been a classifier, a referee, a tutor. I've worked for the organisation in a couple of different roles. A coach. So at one point I was coaching with the talent pathway. Just a bit of everything. Bit of everything.
Yeah. It's almost as if there's no role left for you to fill. You've done.
No, no, definitely not now. I just keep going around and ticking all the different jobs. So I think,
Yeah.
oh, I'll try that one.
Yes. So yeah, you first. So this is so Richard Evans is a former Butcher England employee. He was England manager at one point within Butcher England as well. So every time we mention names, we just explain to the viewers and the listeners about that sort of thing. Um. So yeah, she started off as a tutor in with
Yeah.
Butcher England within 3 different awards. Yeah. So it was a Leaders Award. Was that a Coaches Award as well, or what was it?
Yeah, so when I first started, there was 3 different awards. So there was Leaders Award, Young Officials, and a Young Leaders Award. So now there's just the Bocce Leaders Award, but I'm also tutoring the coaching qualifications, so the level 1 and the level 2, and then some of the officiating stuff as well.
Yeah, and I started that in 2012, London Paralympics and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Presumably, you were slightly involved with that with Stephen, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so well, Stephen was there competing at London 2012, and then I was there separately with Bocce as a NTO, they were called, so National Technical Official, I think it stood for. So as a lines person and a timekeeper. So I was at the XL, where Stephen was obviously up at the stadium. Yeah.
were you two officially married at that point, or?
Oh, you're testing me now. No, we got married the year after London, so we got married 2013.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah, because 2013 was actually when Smile started.
It was, yeah. So it was a mixture of things. So I'd been made redundant from the council, or I'd taken my redundancy. And Stephen was kind of he had an injury at London, which obviously he might have spoken about. So he was looking for something to do if his athletics career was going to finish. He wanted something to focus on. So we started Smile. So yeah, November 2013 it started. So it was a busy year, definitely.
Very. Yes, and would you mind explaining, or if they heard Stephen's, if they heard Stephen's interview, could you a lot of refresh up what Smile does and everything?
So we're a disability sport charity, and in general we work with people of all ages, all disabilities across all sports, and across the northeast region. So it is massive, the remit that we have. But we're not looking for the next Paralympian. What we're doing is literally for every disabled person, we want them to feel like they've got the chance to do something. So if that is just going to the gym, if that's playing basketball, playing bocce, whatever it is they want to do to be active, we want to give them that opportunity, really.
And but because obviously when you start a new business, it can, or charity, it can start off quite slow. Was it a slow progress up to now?
It was. So yeah, when we first started, it was really hard work to get going. But we built it up, and we were doing amazing. 2019, we had I think we had 15 members of staff, and we were delivering all over. As you'll hear a lot, obviously COVID hit, and so we've gone down, and last year we only had 3 members of staff, so we went from being this really big thing to shrinking down, and actually now feels like we're starting to grow again. So it's quite nice at the minute that we feel like we're growing again.
Yeah, and then you did tutoring at Bottom End, and then you've carried on. What's your role within Smile, actually? What's your role?
In Smile,
Yeah.
managing director.
Okay. Obviously, so Stephen's the CEO and the financial officer, and you're.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm managing director, which is a posh way of saying does pretty much everything, including, clean the bathroom, make sure there's tea and coffee available. Yeah, all of that.
All the admin stuff nobody
Yeah.
wants to do.
Yeah, pretty much everything gets left to me.
Yeah. Yeah. So presumably Stephen gave you that high role within the just to keep you happy for a little while.
Yeah, keep me quiet and busy, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. So staying with Bottom, you then became development manager, which is a role which I think isn't probably used anymore in Bottom.
No, it's not.
No.
So yeah, I was there for about a year doing development manager. It's now they changed the structure a little bit, so they have a development officer instead, which lets.
Okay, that's it. Yeah.
So that's George. So George can be much more hands-on with a club, so it made the role much more approachable. So that's
Yeah, that
bit
makes
better.
that makes sense. When I saw that role, I thought I don't remember there being a development manager before. Obviously, it's officer now. So
Yeah.
So what was that? What did that role? What did it involve?
So a bit of everything really. It was kind of working with partners to make sure there was bocce happening. While I was there, it was when the World Championships were in Liverpool, and there was a project around Liverpool and the Northwest and training some people up so that there was a legacy from those games. And it involved delivering bocce in some very strange places in Liverpool. So we we were in shopping centres, we were in school fields. We at one point delivered on a floating pontoon in the middle of Albert Dock, which was very different. So yeah, it was a lovely little project, that one. But yeah, it was just about developing the sport a bit better.
Yeah, and then another thing that you developed was you were involved with Butcher you were a competition manager for the Special Olympics.
I was.
Yeah.
I loved that. Yeah. So again, that was, I want to say 2017.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. So yeah, I just volunteered for that in Sheffield for their national games. And it was the last time the national games had been held since COVID, actually. And it was just brilliant. We had 500 and odd athletes at Ponds Forge, and it just, I was exhausted by the end of the week, but it was just amazing. Absolutely loved it.
So what was the process for that? Obviously, you had to apply first, and then you had to go through a lot of interviews, I'm assuming.
Yeah, there was a good few interviews for that one. And they were just looking for someone who had that knowledge of boccia and of who'd worked with people with learning disabilities before, and who could kind of bring the two together and deliver the competition, really.
Yeah, and was it for a week that event?
Yeah, so the games were it worked out at about 5-6 days in Sheffield. And then it was the year before that all that work was happening to get ready for it.
Yeah, must have been quite a nice experience because obviously with the background and everything.
It was lovely. It was really hard work, but one of my favourite events ever. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and then recently you took another position at Butcher England, do maternity cover.
Yes, to cover the workforce manager role while Natalie was on maternity leave. So kind of managing the courses and supporting the volunteers for events and things.
Yeah, and it must have been quite a bit weird coming back into an old workplace, but then knowing there was a limit of how long you'd be there for, and I just sort of try to fit everything in. And of course, Natalie to tell you what's happening, and then you to tell Natalie what's happened since.
Yeah.
Quite a hectic part.
Yeah, it's definitely been a busy year. Definitely been busy. But it's lovely because it just feels, when you go to work for butchering, it just feels comfortable because, I know everybody, so it's quite nice. So it was lovely to go back. So I've just finished. Natalie's just come back. So yeah, so that role's just finished recently.
Yeah, and well, did you get a phone call or did you apply or?
No, it was I applied for it, so it was again it was like a
Well, yes, we better get her in.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe not. They were like, oh no, she's back.
What are you doing here? I thought you left.
I think I'm like a bad smell, Peter. I think I just keep turning back up.
And so you're now working presumably full time for Smile now?
Yeah, back to full-time Smile to get, because we're growing again after COVID, so this is the first year where we're kind of building back. So yeah, back here.
And is there any new developments happening within Smile for the next few months, coming up?
Yeah, so this is our 10th year. So coming rapidly November, we will be 10 years old, which is pretty exciting. So we're actually, it's still a little bit of a secret. Not sure if it'll have come out by the time this interview comes out, but we're going to release a whole new strategy. And there's a bit of a change for Smile, and it's going to be some new staff recruited, and a big party for our 10th birthday. So it's all very exciting stuff that's coming.
Yeah, and I mean, if it does come out when the interview comes out, where can people, sort of look at it?
Yeah, so the best place to see it, it'll all go out live on our Facebook, the announcement. So we're just Smile Through Sport on Facebook. And then our website. So again, we're just smilethroughsport.com, and it'll all be announced on there.
Yeah, with a lovely background with gold lettering and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. We like to pretend to be posh with the gold lettering.
Yeah, definitely. And what do you think the future will be for Smile? I mean, obviously you said about the next few months, but what when it becomes 20 years old or something like that, presumably you and Stephen will still be there. As,
Yeah.
yeah. So what's
Yeah.
it looking like for Smile? I mean, are you still focusing on the Northeast, or are you expanding, or what's the future looking like?
Yeah, so we are looking to expand. So the plan is, the long term aim is to have a centre within the Northeast, which is the Smile Centre, where people can come to us to take part in sport, in a fully accessible venue and permanent bocce courts. That's the vision for the Northeast. But then we are going to start to go on the road a little bit this year. So that's going to happen quite quickly. So we have a flagship event, which is a bocce open, which currently has only ever been held in the Northeast. And there are plans to take that on the road a little bit. So that'll be very exciting.
Yeah, it sounds very exciting. And so it's not just bocce that you do at Smile, is it? There's other sports. It's not just bocce.
No, not just bocce. Yeah, a lot of other sports. So we do a lot of delivery in residential homes, care homes. We're about to start doing wheelchair basketball. But we do a bit of everything: volleyball, golf, cricket, new age curling. Just every sport going. We've given it a go. So yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah, and you said that you wanted to get out of use. So presumably at the moment you're having to hire out different venues at the moment.
Yeah, so we would hire out a sports hall or a community centre, and we will always do that. So even when we've got a permanent base, because one of the things we like to do is go to hard to reach areas. So in the northeast, there's quite a few little towns and villages that don't have a sports centre and they're just out on a limb. So we tend to take sport to them. So we'll always do that. But yeah, we do want to have our own space to deliver stuff.
Fair enough. And what's the future for you personally? I know Smile will be always be a part of your future, and of course, Stephen's career, and everything else. But what's the future for you personally? Would you want to go back into coaching? Would you want to go to different other disabled sports or roles, or what's the future for you?
So obviously Smile will always be there and that'll be my focus. But no, I wouldn't like to say now I'll never go back and work for Bocce England, because no doubt at some point I will. There's bound to be something that comes up. But yeah, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't have a grand plan.
No.
Maybe I should.
Yes, and um, so we're finished now with you. So but one thing I wanted to ask you, which was in right down actually, which wasn't, but one of the things I wanted to briefly ask you about was you met Stephen and you went out with him for a while, sort of thing. So presumably you helped him out with all the training sort of stuff and all of be ready for the Paralympics, World Championships and everything.
So really, no. So Stephen's athletics has always been very separate. So he has his coach. So his coach is actually his mum, who's coached him to the Paralympic level. So yeah, so we've always kept that kind of separate.
Yeah.
And then he's started playing bocce a bit now.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm not coaching him because we just would fall out. So we have to keep them very separate. So yeah, otherwise we'll end up in divorce.
Yeah, it's best to keep your work life put to your
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it
Definitely.
also works smart because obviously you're working very close together, so there must be a lot of arguments going on behind the scenes.
No, to be fair, we're very good. So if we tend to leave it at work, so we can go from work relationship to home. So we're pretty good so far.
Yeah, certainly. And then it must have been quite tricky because Stephen had out of my dissertation last year, and he mentioned that he was training at home, and I think
Yeah,
his mum wasn't allowed for a while, so you
yeah,
sort of helped him out for a bit.
yeah. So I did, yeah, when it was like lockdown and stuff. Yeah. But Stephen obviously has sets his own program and does all of that. So yeah, it's not really a lot to do to help Stephen. He just cracks on.
Yeah, yeah, just lock him in the room for 5 hours and he's off.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. No, no, but I mean, because it's very hard sometimes to, obviously, when you're working with someone and living with them, it's obviously a very hard work-life balance. But you seem to be doing pretty well. I mean, you're still piloting at the moment, so it must be working.
Yeah, he's survived, so he's done well. So I suppose Smile's 10 year old, so we've been married 10 years. So yeah, and I haven't killed him yet, so he's doing well.
Yeah, very well. And yeah, he got gold, didn't he, at his first box competition last year? You know,
It did, I think. I think his first one back. I think it was a back to bocce. Um, and then he's just qualified for BE Nationals for this year. So that'll be the first time he's done the BE Cup Nationals for a long time. So yeah.
yeah, and it's probably good thing that you're being quite neutral because you've just left what's England and now Stephen's coming up.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, at some point I have to be an official, so I might be refereeing games, so I've got to be completely neutral.
of course, definitely. Yeah, and yeah, Stephen said to me that he played against me at one point, and
Yeah.
but I don't remember at all.
Oh, do you not? No,
Uh,
you definitely beat him.
yeah, well, brilliant. You know, at least
Yeah,
I've been over him.
love it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if people wanted to find out about Smile and to find out, I mean, if people from North East are watching this, probably not. But if there are, how can
Yeah.
they sort of get involved? What's the process?
Yeah, so all of our events and sessions go on Facebook and Twitter and my website. So that's the best place to start to get the information. And then just turn up or give us a ring. But yeah, we welcome everybody. And then anyone who's not from the Northeast, there will be stuff that they can still get information from us. We can signpost them to people near them. So yeah, that would be good.
Well, that's everything. Was there anything you wanted to add to this, or I pretty much filled everything in?
Yeah, you've covered it all. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
Voice. Let's go. Voice FM.